So welcome back to fly fishing Rutland water. We're down here on Greenbank trying to catch a fish on the dry fly. I don't think it'll be as big as the 6-pound brownie that I managed to catch yesterday when I wasn't filming, but I'd like to get at least one fish on the camera at Greenbank. If you like this video, please make sure you hit the like button, and I would be delighted if you would subscribe to the channel to see more of my fishy adventures. The scene of my monster catch yesterday, I've seen fish rising in the area and the conditions are almost perfect. They're exactly as they were yesterday morning when the fish were taking. I'm down a little earlier than yesterday. It seemed that the fish came on about 11 o'clock. So down a little earlier. I'm fishing the foam daddy again. In the hope that the fish are feeding on the surface. Now this is interesting. Earlier in the week when I was fishing on the boats, the only place I turned a lot of fish was off of those trees. There's a big shoal of pin frying in amongst the rocks over there, and as we drifted past the trees I turned about 3 or 4 fish in the space of one drift, but none of them took. Yesterday I saw one of the boat catching a couple of fish there on exactly the same drift. Now interestingly, the words got back to the rest of the teams because they're all in the same spot, so good luck to them. It was also interesting to see that the fishing for the Airflow Invitational hasn't been easy, which reflects how the water's been this week. It's been incredibly tricky this week. Notice my casting was getting a bit long again yesterday, so I'm going to try and shorten the casting arc today. Now I hope that wind stays the way it is. It changed yesterday and that made it really difficult. That's more like what I'm trying to do. There's a nice gentle ripple. Like I said, I saw fish on the surface when I first came down, but like yesterday, they disappeared as quickly as they appeared. That was a fish right out in the water. I've just got to watch for the boils. You can kind of see a pattern where you see the fish before they come into the area. Now there's fish over there, I think, to the right. Now that is near my fly. I thought that was right next to my fly. That might have been having a look. Now, this is what happened yesterday. They had a look, but they didn't necessarily take. So I'm going to give the fly a little bit of movement to see if I can entice the fish into taking. The brown trout that I caught yesterday, that was nearly 6 pounds, took when I was retrieving the fly, and it took quite close in. It obviously followed the fly in. Now I think that fish had a look at that fly but didn't want to take, and that was quite common yesterday. I'm fishing the same foam daddy that I've been using almost exclusively from the bank. These nettles are a nuisance. The best way is to stand on them, and then they can't tangle your line. So same tactics as before. I'm letting the fly drift naturally, and then I will retrieve it at the end of the drift. No fish on the surface at the moment. They will come back. Yesterday it was around 11 o'clock. It's 20 past 10 today. It is a bit cooler as well, so it might be a little bit later before the ground warms up and the terrestrials start hatching to bring the fish onto the surface. I thought that might have been a fish, but I'm not sure. My eyes may just be playing tricks on me. Now there was a fish to my right. Now if what I believe has been happening all week is still happening, that fish will be moving up here and it'll be with me very soon, and it's probably got a few friends with it as well. So I have it in the right. That fish there right in front of me. That's how close in they are. Now that one was in the area of where my fly was, so that should put the fly on top of that fish or close to it. Oh, this fish is having a look at that fly. It had a look, but it never took. Oh, that was so nearly good. I cast to the fish hit the fly but didn't swallow it. This has been happening all week. The fish either really want it badly or are incredibly tentative. The wind is swirling again. It's kind of going northwest and northeast. I much prefer the northeast wind. It helps casting a little bit better. And there's some swallows in the water, so there must be something hatching. this is the wind I liked most yesterday. It's more of like an east-northeast. I'm too far out. There seem to be some terns feeding in the area as well, which again indicates there's something in the water that both the terns and the fish are feeding on. Haven't seen any of the competition anglers catch yet. Now that fly is sitting beautifully in exactly the spot I want it to be. Right, I've fished that fly static and they haven't shown any interest, so I'll now bring it back in. There's a little bit of movement. Oh, house martins. I live about 2 miles from here, and the housing development is absolutely filled with house martins, so those house martins are probably living in one of my neighbours' houses. Oh, there's a fly fish there. Even cast on top of it. It's close. Maybe a little bit short. Just a tiny little bit short. Now if that fish is moving, it should be moving to the left, so if I bring that fly in and cast a little bit to the left, I should be where that fish is now. A couple more extra false casts just to dry the fly off and then out. There seems to be a magic spot where the ripple starts, which is where the fish are sitting. It's almost like they're watching for the terrestrials to be blown onto the still water and then using the ripple as cover. So we've turned 2, but they're not feeding voraciously this morning yet. Competition boats don't seem to be catching yet. So that's probably another indication that the fish haven't quite turned on yet. Sometimes the fish have been taken when, oh, that fish is near that fly. Is it following? They're very finicky today. That fish was in about 2 feet of my fly. If it's moving left, it'll be going that way. Whoa, that was near it. That was another one. They're coming and looking but not taking. That's infuriating. These could be clever fish. Or fish that have been hooked a few times or been in the reservoir for a while and know what to look for to distinguish a natural fly from a fisherman's fly. This is the foam daddy. Fabulous fly. Never caught a fish in a Midas. The Scottish anglers suggested it to me on Facebook. Or it might have been YouTube, I'm not really sure, but one of them suggested it to me. And I've been giving it a try periodically. Now the Midas is sitting really proud in the water and I can see it really easily. Just need a fish to come in the vicinity to see if it's something that they are interested in. I'm trying to restrict the rod arc. I was going way too far back yesterday and way too far forward. I'm now just trying to keep it tight. Oh, it's on, excellent. Now, because I changed the fly. Obviously changing the fly was the trick. And this is the Midas, so whoever, the chap that suggested the Midas, thank you very much. We'll try to get the fly on the fish on the reel. Green bank, no longer green blank, it is green bank. It's proper, back to its proper name. Whoa, this one's decided to go. The fish in here have all been quite good. And a few of them have taken me to the back end, so I'm going to just tighten that up a bit. Coming in a little bit fast. Been a lot. The fish in here have been really high quality. Actually, I made a mistake there. I nearly loosened on that one, and that was quite far out that fish took. This is another one of those nice ones. I can see the tail. Don't think it's another brownie. I think this one's a rainbow. It feels more rainbowy than brownie. It's been out the water, so which is more characteristic of the rainbows. Let's get a look at it. Well, it's not huge. It's not huge. But they certainly run here. The fish are really pulling. And they're not big either. And this is not a huge fish. Let's get this one safely into the net. Again, the nice thing I think about fishing with a dry fly is you can get the leader into the rod rings without it catching. Safely in the net. Rod nice and gently down. The fish is in the water. I'm going to release this one. Oh, the fly's come out in the net. The fly has already come out in the net. Wow, I was lucky with that one. It's in good condition. This one should go back quite easily. Just let it revive a little bit. I shall get this fly at the net first, that makes it easier. Right, I think I'll release this one out from the net. Because it's, come on. There we go. Yeah, that's gone back nicely. Yeah, that's gone back very, very nicely. Excellent. We've finally got a fish on camera at Greenbank on the dry fly. Woohoo! And on the Midas, completely new fly. So this is the Midas that they took. Now this one's completely drenched because it's been under the water, so I'm going to have to replace it with a dry one. They are right in the vicinity of that fly. Oh! Oh! They're hitting it but not taking it. Oh, I hope you've seen that on film. That is infuriating. These fish are hitting the fly but not taking it. Oh, that is brilliant to see. I'm going to try giving it a bit of movement. It might be that it needs movement for them to feel like they have to take it. That was intriguing. That fish came and boiled at the fly twice but didn't take. Oh! Dry fly fishing is now officially my favourite way of fishing. One of my subscribers asked if I had gone to the dark side. And if dry fly fishing is the dark side, then that is where I have gone. Oh, this is tremendous. I mean, it's just a waiting game. I mean, these fish are incredibly fussy. So, this week, I've had to put lots of hours in just to get the odd fish, but the fish have generally been incredibly good quality. So it's worth the wait, but it's not a fish a chuck like it can be earlier in the season on buzzers or lures. This is, we're into pin fry feeding time. It's hard, really hard, but I'm still catching fish to the end of June. Oh, no, is that one? That was at the fly, but I don't know if it, again, another phantom take. Boiling at the fly, but not taking. This is infuriating. I don't know what else to do. I feel somewhat overdressed today. I've got my waterproof on because I thought the grass would be incredibly wet. Now, if you look at this grass, it is making casting a nightmare. It's so easy to catch this stuff. It's almost 5 foot high. That was right next to my fly. And it never looked at my fly. It came up and took whatever was there, but never looked at my fly. Now that is taking the mickey. Oh, kingfisher! Oh, wow! That kingfisher came right past. I had a kingfisher fly past. It's not quite the red arrows, but I love the fact that we pick up some lovely wildlife during these sessions. Right, this is what happened yesterday. About midday, the wind switched from... Oh, and there's another one! And... Why will they not take it? I had to go to the fishing lodge to get one of these Midas flies. And when I was in, Robbie Windrum told me the story behind the fly. That partly it was tied for a Scottish angler who was having problems seeing the dry fly in the surface film. So he tied a fly that he would find easy to see. And I guess it works both ways. If it's easy for the angler to see, it's also easy for the fish to see. And that's why it works. It's obviously worked today. It's the only fly that the fish have actually taken. But even with this fly, they're still coming up and boiling. I've had a couple come up and look at it but not take. It must be into double figures for the number of fish that have come up and looked at the fly or hit it with their nose but haven't actually taken it into their mouth and eaten it. Oh yes, I got. Oh, the fish came after it! Came after it when I was pulling it in but didn't take. Oh goodness! And it sunk the fly as well. Oh! Fish in the area, but I don't know if they're at the fly or not. Ah, yes! Oh, it took, but it came off! Oh, damn and blast it! Oh, it's a nice fish as well. That one. Oh, goodness sake! That one took straight out of the water. Oh. Oh, my heart stopped there. That was a really cracking fish. It came right out of the water. Oh, that one took. Excellent. Now that one followed the fly before it took. So they obviously need the movement. Oh, you just have to persevere. Nothing you can do about it. That one took 2 goes and literally, rather than slowing it down, I decided I was going to pull the fly away from the fish. And that seemed to work. It's not a big fish either, but it's under the rod. I hate it when they go under the rod so quickly. Get it onto the reel. That's good, I got it into the reel, that's what I wanted. It's another one of these fish that seems to wake up once it's been caught. Oh, I'm glad we got that one because the one before was just so infuriating. But this is what happened yesterday. It literally just switched on at almost the same time, about 12 o'clock. This is when I say, if this one comes off, it doesn't matter because I'm fishing, catch and release. And I don't need to give you a caption to tell you that you know 100%, but if I said that, I'm lying. I just want to get this one in quickly. Right, now we'll get it in. There we go. Rod it carefully down on the bank. Let's get this fish. It's quite a nice one actually. It's the 2 to 3 mark, probably nearer 3 than 2. And oh, look at the hook, just came straight out in the net. I'm going to give this one a little bit more time because it played for quite a while. So I want to make sure that it's 100% revived before I let it go. Get it out of the net and just hold it in my hand. I also want to make sure that it's revived. Oh, that one went. Oh, that's swum away nicely. Well, it just shows you, I think, a lesson in perseverance. These fish were driving me insane this morning. Constantly boiling at the fly but not taking it. But you've just got to keep at it because one will come along and will take the fly. And that one did. Unfortunately, the one that I lost before was probably an even better fish. But this is what happened yesterday. It switched on and it was almost like the fish went mad and would take. And it only lasted for about 10 or 15 minutes. Now in that situation, the fish were much more competitive. Before there was 1 or 2 fish that were coming up and having a look, but they had plenty of time. There was a lot of fish in the area. And they got competitive. And because I started to pull the fly back a little bit, it was a case of it had to get it before the other fish, and that's why it took. So I think I know what the technique is. Wait until there are fish, leave the dry fly static until the fish are in the area, and then when the fish are in the area, start to pull it back a little bit and try and get that competitiveness going on between the fish. Can we get one last take before we head home for lunch? That fish was right next to my fly again, moving in the wrong direction.